creative. And even if these are imaginary friends, that business that you have made and you being as creative as you have been has led to you being one of the best people in the world, Christopher Robin. But I'm not sure if they're real. And Christopher's like, but no, fiance, these are real. And then sure enough, they eventually stumble upon the cabin, and then Piglet grabs a chain and strangles his wife till she dies. And then Christopher Robin gets cornered by Pooh and Piglet, and he drops what I believe to be one of the most iconic lines in horror movies now. He says, Pooh, you've got to help me. Something's wrong with Piglet. He killed my wife. and then that's when it sinks in on Christopher Robin that they're all, off their gourd. So Pooh and Piglet start closing in on Christopher Robin as he's yelling and screaming. And he's saying, we were friends, but we were friends. We were friends. What happened to us being friends? And then they kidnap him, and that's the intro. A fierce and fiery start to this one. And I'd like to mention that the two actors in the Winnie and Piglet costumes, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that they're like 80 years old. Because they move around so fucking slow. Especially Pooh Bear. Pooh Bear fee-fi-fo-fums around like he's carrying 1,000 pounds on each ankle. I thought for a second every time they moved, they slowed down the footage by like half. Like they moved at 0.5 speed. It really looks like they're riddled with arthritis. Every movement they make is extremely stiff. When they kill somebody, it's almost like animatronic to a certain degree. Like, it's so jarring. I would have expected them to be a little more limber since they're supposed to be like these crazy, agile, unstoppable killing machines. But my god, they are painfully slow and stiff. It's weird. But anyway, moving on. So that's the intro done. And then we get to our main characters. And I couldn't even tell you any of their names because it just genuinely wasn't important. They are actual just meat balloons for Winnie and Piglet to pop. So it's a group of girls that go to this cabin in the 100-acre wood for a vacation. And this is a no-technology vacation. They want to go off the grid, like in fucking witness protection, basically. So they turn their phones off and everything is when they get to the cabin. But unfortunately, one of their friends was a little late, so when she was calling them to ask for directions, they didn't answer. So she pulled over outside, like next to the cabin a little far down the road, and was trying to get them to answer. And as she's calling, Pooh Bear spots her. And this is very bad because Pooh Bear's got a taste for blood and he's gluttonous. So Pooh Bear starts chasing her down like this. The girl's screaming. She eventually makes it to some kind of like warehouse and takes cover underneath a wood chipper. You can see where this is going. As she's hiding, Pooh happens to find her. And I shit you not, I swear this is going to sound like I'm making up, but I'm not. Pooh grabs her and then rips her shirt off. And then her tits are flopping all over the place for a minute, and Pooh's like moving her around so her tits kind of jiggle. And then he starts slamming her head against the wood chipper till she dies, and then he puts her in the wood chipper to make a blood sundae out of. So it's shooting all of her blood and guts out of the wood chipper, and that's it. I don't understand what the point was in Pooh Bear stripping her nude, basically. Well, I guess not fully nude, making her topless. I don't really get it. I thought this was going to be like some kind of narrative plot point where like he sees her tits and his eyes just go like awooga or something to indicate that he's like a pervert, like truly just the most, reprehensible menace of all time. But it played no role in anything because Pooh doesn't talk, he has no emotion, he has no real character, he just kills. So what the fuck was a point in just like having her tits all over the place for like 20 seconds? And that's another thing. All of these kills, the directors confused tension with just general time and dead silence and dead space. So when she's hiding, it is painfully long of her just sitting there and Pooh's feet by the door. It'll go on for like 45 seconds of nothing happening. It's not building tension, it's just overstaying its welcome and it's just dead space. It's fucking worthless. And that's for every single kill. The director really just thought like holding a still frame of something in the background is building tension, and it's just not. It was just really mind-numbingly boring, and it really lasted a long time. Like in the intro, when Christopher Robin was saying, but we were friends, and Piglet and Pooh were coming in, that scene was probably about 2 minutes of them standing there, slowly getting closer, as Christopher Robin repeated the same 5 lines over and over again, like it was an NPC malfunctioning in a video game. It was painful how long those scenes would drag. But anyway, moving on, so that girl got thrown in the wood chipper, back at the cabin. One of the girls is an Instagram model, so she's in her downtime playing music in a hot tub, and while Pooh Bear is dispensing of like this corpse, this skeleton of one of their victims, he hears the music, so he looks around, and then he sees the hot tub. So as she's taking Instagram pictures, you can see Pooh in the background, and the girl notices that too, and she's like, oh, what the fuck is this? That's a weird looking creature back there. So then she turns around, literally knows Pooh is there, and knows that it's some kind of fucked up abomination back there, and she's like, I know you're there, but you're not gonna ruin my vacation, or what was the line? You're not gonna ruin my hot tub, or something? I don't know, it was a terrible line, but she recognizes that there is a complete stranger in these fucking woods, this giant fucking animal, recognizes that, and then just says, you're not going to ruin my time. So she gets back in the hot tub, where she gets chloroformed by Piglet and Pooh Bear. So then they fucking hog tire on the front porch, and then steal one of their cars, and Piglet puts his foot on her, while Pooh Bear slowly drives over her skull, and then you get a close-up of her skull slowly exploding, so her eye pops out at the camera, and then blood starts squirting, and they're using the worst CGI of all time for the blood squirting, and eventually her head just pops and blows up. The genre that this movie's in is torture porn, pretty much. Like, that is basically all it is. It's just Winnie and Piglet torturing and killing people. I even forgot to mention that Christopher Robin is being tortured by Pooh. He was hitting him with Eeyore's tail, just like fucking flogging him with it. And this is what I'm talking about with a lot of things they didn't even bother to follow through on. There's a moment where Christopher Robin's like, I know you're still good in there, Pooh. This isn't you. You killed my wife, but I know you're still good in there. And then Pooh has this moment where he, like, cries, and then he breaks some boxes, and then he looks at himself in the mirror, and then he goes back to hitting him with Eeyore's tail. And it's never explored again. Like, ever. At all. Like, there's just this brief moment of vulnerability, but then he goes right back to just being this two-dimensional killing machine. So now, back to the cabin. They blow up that girl's head with the car. It turns out all of the other girls, for some reason, spread out across the land, so two of them are by, like, a pond talking. Another two of them are literally, like, doing nothing, just standing around doing nothing. But they hear their friend scream, and they all run back to the cabin. They see her corpse. They freak out. They go inside, and Pooh is written, "Get out" in blood on the window. So now they recognize they're being hunted, they're under attack, and they're trying to find things to defend themselves with. And then the main girl remembers that she brought a gun with her on this vacation. Her backstory is she had a stalker, so she's been a little scared of things, so she has a gun. And when she mentioned that, both Aaron and I thought it was going to be like a Glock or something, like a normal gun, you know, like a normal kind of gun that you see in movies. Well, it turns out the gun she brought is a fucking revolver. But not just any revolver. It's like a goddamn 6-shooter straight out of Overwatch. Like, she was fucking McCree. She had this giant goddamn revolver. She came out here with that big iron on her hip. So she pulls out this